Welcome. Today we're doing our GRC Times weekly roundup. Think of it as your shortcut to the essential governance, risk, and compliance news from the last week or so. We'll try and give you the surprising facts, clearer explanations, maybe a few aha moments, and you'll probably notice a theme today. It's kind of about control versus innovation and how compliance costs are hitting decisions everywhere. Okay, let's get into it.
Right, let's start globally. Hong Kong, big regulatory shift there. August 1st, their new stablecoin ordinance actually kicked in. And this isn't, just minor rules. It's a really rigorous setup. We're talking licenses needed from the HKMA, real name checks, KYC, and British Reserve requirements.
So were stablecoins linked to traditional currencies, right, and sold retail?
Exactly. Fiat anchored for retail sale. But here's the controversial part, really.
Okay.
It seems to mostly exclude direct interaction with DeFi, decentralized finance.
So kind of walling it off, that sounds, well, conservative. What's that tell us about their strategy compared to, say, the U.S.?
Well, it highlights a real difference in philosophy, doesn't it? Because you look at the U.S.,
Right.
and the SEC's crypto task force is like just starting nationwide roundtables, August 4th. They're talking about an innovation exemption.
An exemption, so almost the opposite approach.
Pretty much. One's tight control, institution-led. The other's exploring flexibility, maybe more innovation-driven paths. It's going to be interesting to see where the money and the talent decides to go based on this.
Definitely. Okay, let's shift gears. From global crypto to corporate compliance and cyber risk, the U.S. Department of Justice, they put out a warning July 31st.
Ah, yes, the DEI guidance.
Exactly. They basically said, look, just removing terms like diversity, equity, and inclusion from your policies, especially in federally funded programs, and swapping them for, proxies, that's not going to fly. Legal scrutiny is still coming.
Yeah, they're essentially saying, we see what you're doing. It's not just about the words you use. It's the substance, the intent behind the policy.
Reading between the lines.
Totally. So for compliance folks listening, the question is, are your programs genuine or is it just cosmetic? Enforcement seems to be looking deeper now.
Right. Okay, now for something a bit unexpected, IBM's latest report on data breaches out July 30th. The average global cost, it's actually down by 9% compared to last year.
Yeah, that was surprising. First drop in 5 years.
So breaches are still expensive, obviously, but
With-
why the drop?
IBM reckons it's mainly down to better detection and containment, faster response, basically. It suggests those investments in cybersecurity tools, in planning and training, they might actually be starting to pay dividends.
So a tangible return on GRC investment there. Good news.
So good news, yeah.
Yeah.
But challenges definitely remain.
Like Kentucky's lawsuit against Temu, filed July 31st.
Right. The Chinese e-commerce giant. Kentucky's alleging privacy violations and counterfeiting. State merchandise, apparently.
Wow. Okay, so what's the bigger picture here for e-commerce platforms?
Well, it just ramps up the pressure, doesn't it? More scrutiny on data privacy, on IP, on what's being sold on these massive platforms. It shows that being global doesn't mean you ignore local rules. The risks are definitely growing.
Okay, let's bring it closer to home. Kentucky again, but state-level stuff. Legislative committees met July 30th. They were talking about the new Medicaid child waiver program.
And there were concerns raised.
Yeah, what was the issue?
The worry is that the program, which is meant for kids with severe disabilities, might not actually be rolling out as intended, despite, significant funding. It highlights that gap between policy design and actual execution, getting it right on the ground.
A classic implementation challenge. And speaking of Kentucky challenges, natural disasters. They're still figuring out how to fund relief, needing hundreds of millions, apparently, because disasters are hitting more often.
Absolutely. And that's a huge GRC issue for states. It's not just the immediate cleanup cost. It forces them to build climate resilience, disaster prep into their long-term financial planning. Budgets are under pressure. It's about managing both the risks you can sort of predict and the ones you really can't.
So wrapping this all up, what does this GRC whirlwind mean for you listening? We've gone from global crypto rules to corporate policy debates, cyber costs, state-level programs, climate impacts. It's a lot, and it's always changing. Which brings us to the big question, really. How are all these shifts, the new rules, the lawsuits, these emerging risks, how will they shape your resilience, your strategy in the months ahead?
Something to think about.
Definitely. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. Stay curious and stay informed.